A boy is shown riding his bike somewhere, but a black van stops in front of him. And it takes him with it. Actually, there was an insane kidnapper in this city who kidnapped and in the boys. A young boy Finney is shown in this city who lives with his father along with his sister. He has lost his mother and his father's behavior wasn't good with them. He drinks a lot and behaves badly with his kids. Finney go to school and a few boys were teasing him. Meanwhile, a boy arrives and supports Finney and makes those kids run from there who was teasing him. After it, that boy says, "I am not good at maths, will you teach me?" Finney says yes, sure, why not? Later, they become good friends and then two officers arrive at Finney's school investigating about that boy. The boy whom we saw at the start of the story riding the cycle. They call Finney's sister and asks how do she know that the kidnapper had black balloons? Actually, that boy's sister reads in Finney's sister's class and she told his sister that the man kidnapped your brother had black balloons. The officers say yes, you're right, the place from where the boy disappeared black balloons are found. How do you know this? Were you present there? She yes, no, I saw a dream. Here we discover whatever Finney's sister sees in her dream, it comes true. The officers reach Finney's father to investigate, but when he returns home he beats her daughter a lot and scolds her. He says, "Why, you told the officers that you have seen black balloons with the kidnapper?" She says, I have seen this dream, but her father says, "Okay, so now you are also dreaming like your mother. Do remember the dreams never come true and now you will not tell anyone about dream." Finney and his sister were worried because of this behavior of their father because he always treated his kids badly. After it, Finney's new friend is shown who saved him in the school from new boys and there was the black van in front of him. And the kidnapper takes that boy while coming out of it. The kidnapper has now kidnapped him and there was none in the school to save Finney. That's why the boys again start teasing him, but Finney's sister arrives when the boys were teasing and beating him. SH saves him from them. After all this, Finney's sister asks him to go home and says, "I am going to my friend's home." She says, "I will stay there tonight." Finney was going home alone and finds that black van in front, in which the kidnapper kidnaps the kids. The man was picking up few things from under his van. He asks for help from Finney and when he helps him the man takes out many black balloons out of the van and takes Finney in his van. He gets faint. He comes to his senses and he was in a dark room that was completely soundproof, means the sound can't go out from here. It was useless to scream here. Meanwhile, the kidnapper comes to Finney while wearing a terrible mask. He is named Grabber and says, "You don't need to be scared, I will not harm you," and then leaves after saying this. Finney sees a black phone, a window in a toilet there when he left. There was nothing except for this at the place where the grabber has imprisoned Finney, but the black phone was dead and didn't work. Its wire was damaged. Actually, it was a basement and Finney was worried, how will he escape from there? Suddenly, the phone rings and he gets scared and shocked that the wire is damaged. Then how can someone call? The phone stops ringing when Finney was about to pick it. Meanwhile, the grabber arrives and says the phone rang before and I'm not sure why, and leaves with this message. As he left, the phone again rings and this time someone was talking to Finney on the phone. He was the boy whom we saw at the start of the story riding the cycle, but it was his soul talking to him. He says there is a tile on the floor, take it out and dig that place so you can leave easily while making a tunnel from there. Finney agrees and starts digging from there. And takes out a lot of soil, then throw it into the commode and throws water on it so Grabber will not discover anything. At the same night, Finney's sister sees a dream in which she sees the Grabber and her brother. On the other side, the Grabber brings food for Finney and let the door remain open. Finney was leaving but the phone rings again and stops him to leave. Finney picks up the call and the other boy speaks, who was also his schoolfellow, but now they don't know anything about Finney. This is what the boy said before. He said that he should make a tunnel. Here we see the souls of the boys. And they were the boys who were ended by the Grabber while being kidnapped. They want to let Finney together, that's why their souls were talking to him through phone. The boy who was on the call, his soul forbids him to go upside, because the Grabber has intentionally remained the door open so you will go upstairs and he will end you. I have hid a rope here and you can reach the window with its help and call help for yourself. Finney finds the rope but he couldn't reach the window. On another side, Finney's sister tells her father about her dream and says she has seen that kidnapper. He was wearing a terrible mask and I also know the place where he has kept Finney. Her father was also concerned for his son, that's why he agrees to find Finney with his daughter. There, 2 officers are shown investigating the kidnapping of the boys and reach a man's house. This man lived with his brother and they come to him because they suspect him, but he says I doubt the kidnapper is living here. The kidnapper who disappeared kids while kidnapping them and none discovers anything about them. The officers leave after hearing him, but the surprising thing is Finney was imprisoned in that house's basement. But the man doesn't know anything about it and his brother was the kidnapper who kidnapped kids. His name was Grabber and this man doesn't know the reality of his brother. He even doesn't know that there is a basement in his house. Grabber brings food for Finney and says tell me your name and I will let you go from here. Finney was scared of him so he tells his fake name. Grabber becomes furious at it and throws the food and throws a newspaper in front of him, in which there was the news of his kidnapping and his name was also written. He leaves being furious. Meanwhile, Finney sees a boy's soul and the phone again rings. He picks up the call and the boy's soul talks to him. It says Grabber didn't end you yet because you didn't play any game with him. Now is the right time for you to escape from here because he must be sleeping at this time. My cycle's number is the password of this door and I have written it on the wall. Finney moves to the door gradually. He opens it but Grabber also awakes and his dog also starts barking. Grabber was so clever that he has caught him again. Poor Finney was imprisoned by Grabber. And he again locks him. After it, Finney again gets a call and the boy's soul tells him that if he will not leave within a day, Grabber will end him and he just has a way to break the wall. And there is a huge fridge behind it and through it you can easily leave. He does the same. He breaks the wall and moves into the fridge but he was stuck here because the fridge was locked from outside. Finney has lost his courage and he was feeling that Grabber will end him like others. Meanwhile, the phone again rings. And this time, the boy who used to save him from the others in the school, his soul was talking to him. He asks him to fill soil in the phone's receiver and then he can use it as a weapon. Finney's sister was searching for Grabber's house in the rain on Sile because she saw his house in her dream. Meanwhile, The souls of those 5 boys come in front who were ended by Grabber. She gets scared to see them and falls from the cycle, then sees the house in front of her that she saw in her dream. She calls the officers while reaching the home and tells them about that house who were investigating this case. After it, Grabber's brother is shown and he suspects his brother. He finds a basement when he comes downstairs. He becomes surprised to see Finney there, but before he saves him, Grabber comes and ends him. Grabber also wants to end Finney and ties his dog on the door and then tries to end Finney. Poor Finney was running here and there while escaping, but he falls into a ditch when he comes closer to Finney. That was made by him to trap him. Now he ends Grabber while pressing his neck with that black phone's wire. But still he can't go outside because there was Grabber's dog on the door. His sister brings the officers outside. Now when the officers reach the house told by Finney's sister, they find many dead bodies there. They all were ended by Grabber. On another side, Finney throws a piece of meat in front of the dog, due to which it leaves the path, and because of knowing that door's password he comes out while opening it. He sees many police cars. Here, we discover Grabber has 2 houses. He keeps the dead bodies of the boys in one of them and imprisons them in the other. The officers didn't find Finney because the houses were in front of each other. Now the truth was revealed, so Finney's father apologizes to his kids that now he will not do anything wrong. After it, Finney goes to school, and everyone notices him because he was released from Grabber's confinement while ending him. He had completely changed. He was no longer the fearful Finney. We learn at the end of this film that we shouldn't help anyone without thinking. Otherwise, we will have made the same mistake as Finney and the other kids. This is where the film ends.